Let me just make sure that everything is working. You guys, welcome. Happy Monday. I cannot believe anyone else that it is the end of the month. It is just crazy, but also I'm completely not complaining at all because we have had the most amazing hold on, this was like I was thinking about this a second ago. I'm like I almost feel like I'm in some kind of like is back when I flew a global I was in global hawk training for a minute. And I feel like I am in that space again where I'm flying from a computer screen and there's literally so much to look at that like I'll click a button and then mess up my camera view, or I'm not really sure how I get to a certain spot. So hold on a second. I'm just going to not do that. Okay. I want to post the link to this that you are seeing on the screen. And actually, let me see if, well, I can't really quick. Anyway, it'll give you the gist of it. So I keep talking about how I'm sending out these emails at every Sunday. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not appreciate being bombarded in my inbox by everyone's million offers. And I'm not saying that there's not times that I'm going to send out a beta course thing or something, but for the most part, like I enjoy the emails that actually have some substance to them, that some sustenance, some stuff that I can actually use during my day. So I wanted to show you, let's make this a little bigger. I wanted to show you the email that I'm sending out because this is what I keep talking about. So human design is an absolutely amazing thing. And I'm going to tell you what, for anything that I ever say, if you guys are like, oh, I'm so skeptical of this type of stuff, hear ye, hear ye. I was the worst skeptic ever until this literally saved my life because it's just not my background. It's not how I was raised. I was raised in a very traditional, um, religious group. I was raised to not have um like any of this type of stuff in my life. And so I would say even like reading a horoscope was kind of like viewed in my community as sort of what's the word, like when you walk under a ladder. I can't think of it right off, but anyways, um so yeah, I really wasn't into that. I ran across human design because I was searching for a methodology, because I have this beautiful process to help people get rid of negative core beliefs, toxic phrases, all those layers of conditioning that happen to you when you're a kid. And I had this beautiful process to getting rid of all this. But then I ran into the issue of, you know, life happens still. And until you get yourself kind of into this habit of living in the now space, even when you are living in the now space, it's inevitable that you're going to not run into some stressor, or, you're not going to have something happen that elicits a physical fight or flight response. And so I wanted a way to help people to stay into the beautiful balanced space that we work together. So to put them in. And then I ran across human design. So human design is this beautiful methodology. The basis of it, just to make it super simple, is saying like it's a combination of your DNA. It's a combination of these little particles that are actually scientifically proven, called neutrinos, that are part of what make you who you are, because you are an energy form and you are so capable of absorbing things. And so it takes together the time you were born, the location you were born, and the date you were born. And it creates this beautiful human design blueprint that is specific to you. So when you read it, you're like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And it helps you understand yourself, but it goes so much further than any of the other methods that I've seen people use. And so I love it because it's like, if you hear me talk about this, I always compare it to like soup. It's like the delicate herbs and spices of this super refined soup. That's how in detail it goes into who you are, and it shows you the things that you're cognitively aware of, and it shows you the things that you're subconsciously aware of. But it allows you to realize how you're designed. And so when you work with me, you know that I don't just shove people into a box and say, like, get out of your comfort zone. That's how you be successful. Because for some of us, that is not how you are successful. For some of us, um, you know, we do things, we need to be in groups. So that's another thing. You're not wrong if you're introverted, and you're not wrong if you're extroverted. It's just how you're designed. So instead of fighting through that and being like, oh, I need to get out more, and oh, I need to do this because this is what everyone's saying. No, we teach you to live how you're supposed to be living so that you don't fight resistance. Like, I know that I am incredibly extroverted on social media, but if you meet me in real life, I am completely socially awkward. If you just meet me outside of, like, if you meet me in a Walmart or somewhere like that, I'm so socially awkward. But I'm very, very extroverted around people that I know and I trust and that I've allowed into my space. So it's like, previously I would have thought, "Oh my gosh, maybe I'm bipolar. I feel like I have all these different, like, personalities." No, it's just a mirror image of the energy of the people around me, and I realize that I allow people in my space that are reflective and help to bring that beautiful positive energy of me out, and the people that are not, I tend to really stay away from. And also, for those of us that are on the same design that I'm on, you actually elicit a vibration to people, and people that are not living authentically do not like the way you feel. So if that happens to be who you are, you may run across people and you start blaming yourself because you're like, oh, why does this person not like me? But you realize that if you're living in your authentic space, there's nothing about you not to like. You're just not a good vibrational match. And I tend to really pull the strings of people that are dishonest and not living in their integrity. And so they really, really feel super uncomfortable around me, and I used to think there was something wrong with me. And then I realized after I dove into this. So, coming back to what this beautiful email is. So, I send this out every Sunday. Now, there are specific energies that are going on each week depending on where everything is situated, as far as like planetary energies go, the earth's energy, the sun's energy, the moon's energy. And I know for those of you that are like, whateverness, I promise you, like I said, I was the biggest skeptic of all until I started living this and I realized how amazing life can be. So I send this out every week, and you'll see that there's a weekly archetype challenge. And so this is a challenge that you can really focus on. So, when people are running around and they're like, oh my gosh, it's a full moon or it's Mercury retrograde and I feel so crazy. This actually helps you to align with the energy of the week instead of resisting it. So it gives you a challenge, like something that you should dive into. Um, so like this is this week's, right? I was like, is this week's or last week? It's kind of small on my computer and it's bigger over here. So right, it was a heartfelt challenge that went out yesterday to mindfully conserve your emotional energy. So when you mindfully conserve your emotional energy, it allows you to not deplete your energy sources. And then giving that energy to the people that are meant for you to give it to actually increases. It's like putting a deposit into the bank instead of having this default all the time because you're just spending, spending, giving, giving to everybody. And so it's making sure you don't sway away from your true self and the person you aspire to be. There's also a journaling question for the week. Do I fully engage my heart in relationships? I mean, how often do we stay really closed off because we don't want to be hurt, because we have so many layers of past conditioning that being in a relationship isn't safe, opening up and being vulnerable isn't safe. Every time I allow someone to get close to me, I get hurt. So, where are we engaging in those relationships? And how can I tune in more closely to my emotional necessities and more boldly express my desires and needs? Because we tend to clam up and then we don't want to tell anyone, especially those that are close to us or our significant other, what's going on because we're so afraid of being judged. All we want in life is to be loved, and putting ourselves out there and being that vulnerable state. We get nervous that, oh, if I share this, then my other person, they'll leave me or they won't want to be with me anymore. There's also a grounding theme. So this week's grounding themes are: what are the stories you're narrating to yourself that may be holding you back? Fostering feelings of being unloved or stuck in a victim mindset. And how can you transform these narratives into tells of positivity and empowerment? So, with my own stories, right? With the passing of my kid's dad and the passing of my daughter, or anything I can think of back in my life, I can do two things. I can have this victim mindset of woe is me. How could God do this to me? How could divine energy do this to me again? Or I can look at that and say, what amazing shifts that I was able to have in my life from these opportunities that otherwise I would view as like these crazy traumas, right? That like kicks me to my knees. So where uh, where are you sharing your story? How are you sharing your story? Are you doing it with purpose, or are you trying to do it out of the victim mentality? And then there's also a clearing old energy. So opening up your heart can be really daunting, right? But you're making a conscious choice to welcome profound intimacy and love into your life, embracing your own love and acceptance for yourself, because, you know, this is going to lead me into something that I want to talk on. But, anyways, this is what the email is. So, this is it, right? You get one every Sunday. It's going to be specific to the energy. I have over in the side the link so you can hop into there and take advantage of this if you would so love to do so. All right, so let me hop into here and let's do this from the beginning. There we go. All right, and let's dive into what we're talking about tonight. So, mastering your mind, overcome overthinking. Now, if this is the first time that you've joined one of my lives, I will just tell you, you are going to see that I really love to give you some actionable anythings to take from this, because it doesn't do me any good to just explain to you a purpose or a the way that I do stuff without giving you like some kind of actionable item that you can take from this. And so tonight we're talking about mastering your mind, overcoming overthinking. Oh, right. Hello. Anyone deal with that all the time? Like, how many of you lay in bed at night and you're like, I just need a button. Like, how do I turn this off? And I've had spaces before that I've gotten into where literally I'm going to bed at night and I'm literally just having an anxiety attack laying there, trying to slow my breathing down, trying so hard to think about something else. And then it's almost like when I finally do get so exhausted that I fall asleep, that I wake up in the morning and I catch myself literally waking up thinking, what am I worried about? Like I still have that like fight or flight sickening spot in my stomach, and I'm just asking myself like, what was it that I was worried about? It's like I'm searching for it, right? And then boom, it comes into mind, and then I'm like, oh yes, this is what I'm obsessing over. And actually, even though you don't mean to, you can get into this habit of like you almost need that nagging sensation because it's making you feel alive. And I know that sounds crazy, but it really is how we are wired. And then you almost need this chaos, you almost need this anxiety, because without it, this feeling of peace is really unsettling. And you almost go searching for something to be worried about. Okay. So, taking a look here. So, welcome to my purpose. I love helping you get out of your own head, teaching you how to remove your blocks, and inspiring you to love who you are. Because when you love who you are, everything else falls into place. It isn't about serving everyone first, which is what I was taught, right? Negative core belief. It's about loving you. Now, let me tell you why. In the past couple of days, I have been on social media, joining a couple of groups and posting some stuff that is um, literally the most non controversial things that I could ever post. Like, those of you that follow me know I steer pretty clear from controversial things. And in fact, if I get myself into a controversial post, it's usually not intended and it's actually something that I've done accidentally or that people have taken out of context for the way that I meant it. So, in the past couple of days, I have seen some people comment on some of my posts, and I'm just like, what is happening right now? And in my old unhealed state, I remember once when I first started my page, a lady made a comment to me about something that I had posted, and I meant it to be funny, and I can clearly now see how it was taken out of context and how it could be triggering and not funny to some people. But anyways, I decided to go live. I just hopped on my phone and went live and started calling her out, and I was making a mockery of her, and I was like, this is my page. Yo, if you don't like it, get off of it. And that was like my mentality that I had. But guess what that was? That was a projection of my own inner hate. That was a projection of me hating the state I was in and me hating myself at the time. It actually had nothing to do with her, right? Um, so I'm telling you this because I want you to realize that when you see someone posting something, because we are in such the world of social media, or you see someone saying something to you, you need to remember there is so much behind those words. There's so much behind that social media post, that comment that you don't understand. And so I tell you this to stop putting energy into it. So my new thing that I do is that when someone types something and I'm like, what in the smackery dackery is this? It, even though my, inner response is to say something very roasting, I just say bless be, because I know that if you're attacking me about my dog, that it's probably got nothing to do with me. You literally are reflecting what you dislike the most about yourself. So just remember that. Do not get sucked into that world, because it is an energy it's an energy leech. And you can't um engage in that and expect yourself to be and maintain a happy state. So I know it's harder. I know it's easier said than done, but don't be putting effort into others' opinions. Like, I work on people all the time where we're getting into like this thing that they do energetically, is what it looks like, is like swallowing the opinions of other people. And it literally causes you physical issues because that is what you are doing. Okay. So we're going to talk about this. And in fact, now that I see my image, it reminded me of something as well. Okay. So let's talk about the cycle that we get into. So we start overthinking, we get anxiety, and that anxiety tends to create overthinking again. And we get into this big, big cycle. And eventually, is what happens is it's so heavy, right? I was working on a client the other day and they were like, oh my gosh, I feel like I can breathe again. So much weight coming off of your chest so you can breathe. And I was like, I know, because you're getting rid of this. And so overthinking anxiety. And after a while, your body just gets so tired of it. You just go into this state of depression. You wake up in the morning and you're like, I can't. I don't even want to get out of bed because I don't want to go through the cycle. And you're just literally, you're mentally exhausted. And that mental exhaustion is just killing your body physically. Okay. So this actually brings me back to what I was just talking about a second ago with people making comments. So I had posted in a group that I was doing this live tonight, right? And I used my image, which I was so proud of because I created this myself. And the image is supposed to be depicting a lady that is, just stressed out of her mind. And welcome to the world of AI, because I realized her other hand is really messed up. And those of you that do AI stuff know that for some reason it absolutely hates hands. So I need to go and fix that. But, anyways, the moral of the story here is she's overwhelmed, right? I mean, it's like you're sitting there, you're going to eat dinner, and then it's like, oh my gosh, you just like have that moment of like, you think of something and you just don't even want to eat anymore. And someone said to me, receipts, like in a post. And I was like, yeah, receipts. Like, it makes sense to me, right? Of all the things that I get super overwhelmed by that causes me to overthink, for me, it's finances, because I've been through issues in my life where finances have been a really depleting thing. And so that tends to be my trigger when I start to get stressed or something that stresses me out, right? And I was like, why is someone being negative about my Facebook post about overthinking and receipts? Anyways, goes back to the right. Don't get sucked into it, because maybe they didn't understand. Maybe they didn't even read what my topic was about. Maybe they didn't even read my post. They just saw the picture and they were like, what's with the receipts? Who knows? But it doesn't matter, right? Because whatever it is, I can unattach myself from it and not be concerned. The only person that I'm here to impress is myself, and that's by improving every day. Okay, next, how do we stop this? So, how do we stop our thoughts, right? So, here's where the actionable items are. Here's where the meat and potatoes of my live are coming. Stopping your thoughts. There's this really great exercise that you can do. It works for so many things, but step outside of yourself. I literally want you to take a second, take a deep breath. And when you do so, I want you to really, really, it helps too if you can put your hands right here. Just take a deep breath, put your hands on your heart center, and you'll be amazed, like just releasing a slight, like even if that's like 1% of your stress, you'll just feel it. Now, I like to visualize things because I'm super connected to my intentions and my creative inner child. And so for me, I even like to go so far as to like imagine that I have all this beautiful, available, refreshing energy. It's no different than when I'm standing in the shower. Water is very invigorating for me. So I just imagine that I'm breathing all of this in and I'm allowing it to center. And then I'm sending out any anxiety, any worry, whatever I'm feeling like out through my toes. Okay. So that's one of the ways, but also stepping outside of myself. I'm actually going to disconnect myself from my body. And this is a really cool exercise that hypnotherapists use, NLP practitioners use, but it's literally like taking a moment and imagining yourself if you were up in the corner of the room and thinking about what you look like sitting. And so you're going to go through like, I can see my hair, the color of my shirt, I can see my computer, and you're just going to go through details. It helps you to disconnect so that you can get control of your mind. So it's called stepping outside of yourself. And then once you do that, you're disconnected from your physical cognitive thoughts. And so you can choose to deliberately let it go. It's a exercise that takes a little bit of practice, but when you first start doing it, do it somewhere quiet where you're not going to be disrupted. And then once you get really good at it, like I can be in a meeting now or in a place that's really stressful and I can disconnect myself and no one knows that I'm doing it, but allows me to bring myself back. It allows me to ground and center so I can get rid of that overwhelming anxiety sensation. So I can do it really quickly by taking a breath and grounding myself again. Another thing that you can do is ask yourself, is this issue really mine to carry worry about? Because a lot of times, especially if you're a parent, if you have a significant other, if you tend to be very sympathetic and empathetic towards other people, you can carry issues that are not even yours. In fact, you may be unintentionally doing it by even going out in public and absorbing the energy of other people. That's why when you come home, you're like, how can I be this exhausted when all I did was go into the store to grab some milk? It's the 35 people that you passed that you absorbed the energy of, because think about it. Think of those 35 people and everything that they're going through. A person could have just lost a pet. Another person could be in an argument with their spouse. Another person could be so alone and feeling so hopeless. Another person could have just lost their job. I mean, you think about every person that you're walking by, if you're susceptible to absorb their energy, that's a lot of stuff you're carrying that's not your own. Not to mention that the people that are closest to you, if you know things they're going through, you're just carrying around their worry because it's just part of how we absorb things. So ask yourself, is what I'm worried about really mine? Okay. And then you can also find a focus or a sensory shift. It's kind of like stepping outside of yourself, but if you start feeling like you're having a panic attack, sticking your hands into cold water, like washing your hands with cold water. So you see people on TV, right? Splashing cold water on their face. Reading, listening to music that helps you disconnect. Like I've done that before, even if I'm at work and I'm like, man, I'm feeling so much anxiety. And I might be listening to my Spotify and I might be listening to a specific playlist that's something that I normally can listen to. It's kind of more upbeat, keeping the tempo up. And maybe that's actually creating anxiety for me. So if I switch to, like, I have a playlist that's called energy healing, right? And then it takes me immediately into this grounding space because it's the playlist that I use when I'm connecting and working on my clients. It's an instant shift. So finding a focus, sensory shift. This other one, understanding that sending energy to the past and too far ahead are a waste of resources. So this brings us to living in the now moment. And this is something that also takes a little bit of practice, but understanding that only control you have is right now. And that second just went by. So I can no longer control, right? I can't go back and take back what I just said 5 seconds ago. So there's no positive in going back to that place. If I just messed up what I said, I can't go back and change it. So the only actionable time you have is right now. And then this moment just passed. Now, I also can't go too far ahead in the future, right? Because sure, I can say I want to plan for what's coming in 30 days ahead. But honestly, how much control do I really have over that when it really comes down to it? I don't. I don't have any control over what's happening 30 days from now. Now, my actions that happen in the now moment can start to direct what's going on, but I really can't control anything that's happening 30 days from now. So you focus on the now moment. That's how you make actions happen, right? If I want to reach more people, I can go live right now in the now moment with intention to reach and attract my tribe. But I can only do so much to worry about increasing the numbers that I have watching 30 days from now, right? It's what I'm doing right now. So understanding that, because when we're so worried about what we've done in the past and we're so worried about what's coming up in the future, you are attracting what you're so worried about because that's where your focus is. And we attract what we're focused on. And the way that our minds even work, if I say, I don't want to um, be in debt, your mind doesn't understand the I don't part of it. So it just hears the debt. It's just no different than if I say, don't think of an Oreo cookie. Did you not think of an Oreo cookie? No, you thought of an Oreo cookie because that's how your subconscious is. It doesn't understand the don't. So if you're like, I don't want to be in debt, I don't want to be in debt, I don't want to be in debt, you're actually focused on debt. And so you are attracting debt because that's all you can think about. All right. So understanding that. Okay. I think, let's see. I'm going to show you how ELV works. So tonight I wanted to show you something a little bit different, especially for those of you that are practitioners, or if you've ever thought about getting into this beautiful realm. I wanted to give you a kind of an inside view of my ELV system. So let me get into the right place. Okay. All right. So what the heck is ELV? So ELV is very similar to some other methodologies that allow you to release subconsciously blocked emotions or things that are energetic that you are struggling with. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, maybe a tiny bit bigger. Okay, so this is my ELV document. And ELV stands for Elevate Life Vibration. So the way that this works is you can ask your subconscious yes or no questions. Okay. And we do, as practitioners, we do this beautiful thing called muscle testing. I love it. You can go study it. Kinesthetic muscle testing. So basically, it takes a little practice, but you can ask yes or no questions and you can elicit a response by the way that your muscles are responding. Now, the first time that I saw this, I was like, what just happened to me? Because I ran across this on accident and I was blown away because I could not change the response that my body was giving. So, um, I was working with some ladies that were really good at this. And you can muscle test on other people, like physically by having someone, and it's hard for me because I can't get into the full view, but people will have you hold your arm out and then they'll ask yes or no questions and they'll push. And if your body responds as a negative, your arm will move a little bit more. And if it responds as a positive, when they push it, it's not going to move. And so you can actually test this by having someone holding a packet of sugar and asking them if this is something they need to take. You can also do this by what's called the sway test, where if you have someone stand, but be careful with this one because if they lose their balance easily with their eyes closed, then that can be not so good. But you can ask yes or no questions, and you'll see the person when they have their hands down to their sides and their eyes closed. If you say, is your, like, if this person's name is Sarah, if you say, "Is your name Sarah?" You'll see them lean slightly to the forward. Most people, yes is forward and no is back, but it can always be opposite. And then you can say, "Is my name John?" And you'll see them move slightly the other way. It's really cool. But I love the science behind energy work, right? I am just the type of person that I'm so wired. I can't do anything unless it's scientifically shown that it's working because that's just how my cranium is. So, anyways, you can also muscle test by doing this. This is the muscle test process that I like. It's these little chains links. So, is what happens is you squishy your little tips of your fingers together. I like to say like you're holding a little birdie or a caterpillar. Like you don't want to mush it. So you're just barely, barely, barely putting those tips together. And then you use your other hand with the intention that this one is my hand that's going to stay closed. Now, for everybody, it's different. So your right and your left, it doesn't really matter. It's which one feels right for you. And then I'm going to put my other finger in here with the intention that it can break apart or stay together. And so then you start practicing and you say, and so staying together like this is a yes for me. And if they pull slightly apart, it's a no. And it can be very, one of the parts about this that takes a second is not letting your cognitive mind get in the way. So I would like when I first started this, oh my gosh, I gave myself a migraine because I wanted to learn how to do it so bad. I gave myself a migraine. And so I actually had to do some energy work on myself to get rid of the resistance to why I needed this to work because I was so focused on, oh my gosh, what if I can't do it? And so then after that, I would literally walk around asking myself yes or no questions to practice. So anyways, the way that it works is if I say something like, do I have an imbalance that's affecting my adrenal glands? I can get a yes or a no. Okay. So these are the questions that we can ask specifically to help. And now I formatted this, right, so that I can teach you how to do it. Now, as you get really into it, it's possible that as you start working this intuitive part of your mind, you can just start seeing. So I don't muscle test anymore with clients, and I don't use even this table of questions, but I'm going to show it to you because this is really cool. I want to just show you kind of how we get into the ability to figure out what's going on with you subconsciously, because when we clear these away, your body beautifully balances and then you see these amazing health benefits happening. Okay, so I wanted to show you this because sometimes I do mini sessions for people, and I wanted you to see the document that is behind kind of what we're doing. I got to get a drink. Okay, so like I said, so that I can teach this to people, the two most common questions that I tell my practitioners to try when they're first starting is asking for energy around current symptoms or asking for the energy most beneficial to release. Now, this is for two reasons. Your subconscious doesn't align with diagnosis because a diagnosis is something that our cognitive physical beings have created, right? And how many times do you think you get a diagnosis and maybe it's not even right? So the subconscious doesn't understand what a diagnosis is. So if we say energy around current symptoms or energy most beneficial to release, then it makes the perception way bigger. So we don't want to accidentally miss something because we're thinking too cognitively about the question. So those are the ones that I always say, like, if you're not really sure and nothing's muscle testing, just go with those. But here's some additional questions. But as you'll see here, I say don't get too caught up in the questions themselves. So the other thing too is you can ask anything that elicits a yes or a no, literally. Now, there are certain things that you shouldn't ask because you're going to get a cognitive interference. Also, like things that you're super stuck on that you want a specific answer to, that can really mess it up as well. You can't muscle test for things that are going on in the future. So I always tell people like it's meant for your highest divine good. It's not meant for you winning the lottery. Um, so just know that it doesn't work like that. But maybe you have an energy around or an energy to release something because it's preventing you from changing, um, energy to release that's making you feel depressed, stopping you from um, whatever. And so you can see there's just all kinds of stuff that you can ask. And so this one's a good one that I found actually not too long ago. Energy to release, allowing you to settle into the season, because was seeing so many people having an adjustment to the winter. And I was like, what if we just turn that into a question? Hey, what energy do I need to release to help me settle into the season? So these are the questions. And I'm going to show you after you do these questions, then these cool foundational things come up. So I like to think of these as this is like the layers, and these are like the things holding it all together. So once we get rid of them, then the body can be like, oh, it's like removing the chains, right? So that you can move again, and then your body can start building its muscles and your energies can start flowing. So these are all the types of energy blocks that my system uses. So I'm going to show you a handful of them before we hop off. So we have blocked emotions. There's like 357, and I just updated this, so my numbers are probably way off. We have negative energy from. So let's look at a couple of these. So you muscle test, and then you're like, do I have a negative energy from something? Yes. Okay, yes. What number is it? And I just, like I said, I updated this, so it's like got, I don't even know, a lot. 200 and something. So I would just say something like this. Do I have a negative energy from something? Yes. Okay. So it is in this. Is it a negative energy that's like 1 through 100? No. Okay. So is it 100 to 175? No. Okay. So is it 175 to 225? Yes. Okay. So then I just say, all right. So I know it's right here somewhere, 175 to 2 something. And actually, I can just see it. So 187. Being stuck in an unhealthy perspective. So then I would just know, okay, I have a negative energy from being stuck in an unhealthy perspective. Now, it doesn't even mean that this energy is happened recently. I could be carrying this from when I was 3 or 4 or 10 or 12 or 22. I just have being stuck in an unhealthy perspective as an energy that I need to release. So I would, as a practitioner or um, as if I was working on myself, I would just write this down. Being stuck in an unhealthy perspective with intention. I'm going to clear this away. I like to clear just with the intention of clearing, but lots of people have different ways to do this. And then I would just keep finding, like, okay, do I have any other foundational things going on? Because I might have, and let's just go through these karma energies. So what are karma energies? These are given or received. Now, here, the thought isn't to blame people or blame yourself. That's not what this is. Karma energy is just something you intentionally did that is a negative vibration. So let me explain that again. Karma energy is something you did or you receive from someone else that is a negative vibration that was done with intention. Okay. And so you can see all of them. So if I'm testing, I could be like, oh, do I have any negative karma energy? And then I would go through the numbers. Oh, yes, 37. Fueling drama to get an adrenaline rush. Okay. We've all done that. If you think you haven't, you're in denial. We have all fueled drama to get an adrenaline rush because we sometimes do that. Okay. You might have some ancestral energies. That's really amazing that we can clear these away. You might have some negative core beliefs. Let's look at a couple of these. I'm always abandoned by those I love. That's a good one, huh? Without protection, others can harm me. I can't let go or I will forget. Sometimes we hold on to traumas because we're afraid if we let go, we'll forget and then we won't be safe because we might let it happen again. Um, so many, so many. I don't have a purpose. It's too late to take care of myself. My health will never improve. No one is interested in what I have to say. So there's all of these. Then we have toxic phrases. So a toxic phrase is something that you've heard or someone has said to you, you could even read it. How about this? How dare you? They just create imbalances. Men are better than women. Money doesn't grow on trees. Stay away from certain people. Silence is golden. Shame on you. All kinds of stuff. Wait until you're my age. What do you think that elicits, right? It's telling you, like, you're watching someone. When I get older, it must be bad. And then as you age, you view life as being really negative. We also have inner negative self talks. This is things that you say to yourself. I'm always making the wrong decisions. I hate the way I look. How can this be happening to me? I did something to deserve this. So you kind of get the gist of it. Subliminal messages, these are things you probably don't even know that you're hearing. These are being implemented into all kinds of stuff. Media's all over the place. Buy this. You're worthless. You have to be perfect. You're not enough. We have idea versions. These are things that you tend to be avoiding for some reason or another. Believing in yourself. Only medication can fix this. These come in all sorts of shapes and sizes. We also have things that we seek, punishing others, crazy enough being controlled. Because if you've been controlled all your life and then suddenly you aren't being controlled, it's very unsettling and you feel unsafe. You can also have resistance to stuff, unresponsive to negative vibrations, all kinds of stuff. So when we find these underlying layers and all of these things, then the body can start to balance itself. So after we pull all of those out, then we can come and find things like, okay, where in the body is this creating a problem? Is it an energy path? Maybe it's my aura layers. Maybe it's a circuit or a rhythm. Maybe it's my adrenals, maybe it's my pancreas, and it goes through all of these things. So that this is the beautiful process that my clients get to experience, and I teach my practitioners to do. And then the awesome thing is, at the end, you can also implement positive things. So you can do affirmations. So here's a couple of examples. Like, I'm deeply rooted in gratitude. I love nurture and I'm committed to my body. I appreciate all of its miraculous abilities. Helping yourself to get back into the space of, when we take things out, we can always put things back in. And it's this super amazing process that literally is just something that I'm so blessed to be able to um help people with. And so I wanted to show that to you because that is how it works. So that way, next week I'll do a little mini demo, but I wanted you to see like the background of what was going on. All right, you guys. So I did put the link over to the email if you want to hop into that so that you can take advantage of I don't think I still have it up. I closed it. Oh no, right here. So that you can get these every Sunday. So it helps you align with the energy of the week. Of course, I'm also always happy to help you if you want a one-on-one client session. I understand not everybody is financially capable of doing one-on-one sessions. That's why I try to keep my rates super low, but I also do my lives every week and try to do my little morning pick me ups so that you can take advantage of that energy, even if financially you're not in a space to be able to do so. All right, you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night. Happy Monday, last Monday night of January. And